What is up, my beautiful people? Welcome back to the Moments Podcast. I am currently recording in my kitchen because I don't know why. I just feel like this is my safe place right now and this is where I want to record. So we're going to talk about a lot of different things. I don't know how this is going to go. I made an outline, but not really. It's a very, very messy outline. Honestly, I'm lying. It's not even an outline at all. I have 3 different bullet points of things I want to talk about, and the rest we're just going to wing it because, I don't know, sometimes I just want to talk, and I feel like that's kind of where I'm at right now. My voice is a little bit gone, so if it's a little bit raspy, that's why, but I've just been going and going and going and having the time of my life. So obviously you lose your voice when you're doing that. Lots of singing, dancing, screaming, going on roller coasters, all that stuff. Last time I talked to you guys, I was with Hannah. Not with Hannah. Hannah just texted me. That's why I said that. I was with Meredith and Anna, and we were about to go on a family vacation. I had just gone home from Universal, and now I'm home from that family vacation for 24 hours, and I'm about to go to Greece, which is the coolest thing in the whole entire world. I am so grateful and so excited about the fact that I'm going to Europe. I've never been to Europe. I've always wanted to go. So this is going to be awesome. And all that being said, I have not really had a minute to sit down and chill and think, and I still don't really have a minute to do so. So having this opportunity to just sit and talk with you guys is kind of my own personal moments of finding peace. So thank you for that, and thank you for this. And that's really my life update. Family vacation was absolutely amazing. We had the time of our lives, and we went with 5 different families, so I didn't know what to expect. I had a feeling there was going to be drama or just, I don't know, if you've ever been on a family vacation, especially with another family, and they all have kids your age and just that kind of thing, there's always drama. And especially when there's drinking involved. I don't know, maybe that's just a personal experience, but I think it's a universal experience that family vacations bring drama. What am I saying? Anyways, so much fun. We went to St. Martin, the place we stayed at. Let me tell you guys, it was so weird. It was like a simulation, and honestly, it's one of those places where I'm I would never recommend anyone to go stay there, but it's also I want everyone to experience that once in their life just so they can understand. It felt like we were in a simulation. That was the joke that we made the whole entire weekend. We stayed at an all-inclusive resort, and I've stayed at all-inclusive resorts before, and they are usually so nice. The staff is so friendly. Everyone's awesome. This place did not feel like that. It was just, I don't know. I'm not going to rip on the place. I'm not going to say the name of it. We ended up having so much fun, but it definitely was different than what we expected. Thank God we had all of us in our big group because I felt like we were the only people there. And I felt like everyone else was robots. Guys, it was so weird, but it was so fun. And I'm so happy that Meredith and Anna finally got to meet because just like I expected, they are 2 peas in a pod. We just laughed the entire time that we were together, and they are now invited back on every other family vacation. Also, I just want to touch on this because I got a few DMs about people being are you still friends with Lisette? Why didn't you invite Lisette on this trip instead? Blah, blah, blah. You guys know Lisette is my sister. She is always my number one. I will never put anyone above her. Trust me. But she had an internship, so she could not take off of work to come. So I was well, I gotta bring in the troops because we want to have a squad, and we did. But next year, Lisette, Meredith, and Anna will all be on the family vacation because they were officially initiated into the Hidalgo family. Moving on. Really what I want to talk about today is struggling with your body image. And the reason I just gave you that whole entire life update and kind of explained to you that I'm going nonstop is that when I'm going nonstop, I tend to struggle with my body a lot. Not even just my body, but my mental health, my thoughts on how I view myself, and just I start to perceive myself in this super negative way because I am out having fun and I'm drinking and I'm eating whatever I want. And don't get me wrong, even when I'm home, I'm eating whatever I want. But if you know what it's like when you go on vacation, it is 5 different meals all the time. You're always snacking, you always have a drink in your hand. I think I had way more pina coladas and strawberry daiquiris than I can count on both of my hands. I probably had at least 50. That is so gross to think about. But anyways, you can assume that comes with struggling with my body. And you guys also know about me, the one thing that is so important to me is loving yourself at all stages that you are at, and just being okay with what your body looks like at different stages, and understanding that if I am out having the time of my life, the last thing that should be on my mind is what I look like right now, because that's not what's important. The memories I'm going to hold on to for the rest of my life aren't going to be or they're not going to have anything to do with what I looked like. That being said, we're all still human. We all struggle with what we look like. And I just kind of want to touch on different ways to get past that, or like the feelings that I have about it, just to maybe help you feel less alone and understand that it is normal to feel these things, but it is also important for us to work on bettering our mindset in the future. And obviously now I've come home from this trip and I've kind of journaled a little bit about what's been going through my mind and why I feel so negatively about myself. And I feel a little bit better. So I kind of want to share that advice with you, and those, I guess you could say, pieces of wisdom, because they helped me. Something that's interesting, when I am writing in my journal, I swear, I don't know if it's God, I don't know if it's like something spiritual, whatever it is, someone talks through me. Like, I am not thinking the things that I'm writing, and then all of a sudden I read it and I'm like, holy crap, like I either pulled that really subconsciously deep from the back of my mind, or someone pulled that through me to think about and understand. It's crazy. I don't know how to make that make sense. I know I probably sound psycho, but when I'm writing, I just go into this like different world of, I don't know, thoughts. Like I learn to really shift my mindset when I'm writing. Anyways, let's just get into it. Like I said, just got home from a trip. It was a 5-day vacation of food, drinks, fun, joy. And now I'm home for 24 hours, and then I leave for Greece for 10 days. And all that was on my mind yesterday on the airplane, I don't even like to admit this. This is like pretty vulnerable for me, but I still want to share it with you guys, was, wow, I'm going to hate every picture of myself in Greece. How stupid does that sound? Like, I know that when I say that out loud, it sounds so dumb. But I also know I'm not the only one that thinks that. And you don't have to admit it if you don't want. No one's asking you to admit it. But I know that we've all had those thoughts. And that's why I'm okay with being open and saying it right now, because the only way to get through it is to fully understand it, if that makes sense. So that's what was on my mind on the airplane. I'm like, wow, I hate my body. I don't want to put on a bathing suit. I don't want to take pictures. But here I am going on this brand trip where what I am going to do is take pictures for this company of myself and of my body and in the clothes. And it was draining me for a little while. And when I feel super insecure about myself, it tends to weigh very heavily on my mental health. Like, it just adds all this extra pressure and all this extra stress, and I begin to get so overwhelmed by every little thing that's going on in my life. I get irritable, and I can't explain why. It's something that I don't understand. I don't want the way that I feel about my body to affect the way that I feel in general, but again, we're human, and that's what happens, and it's normal. Maybe it's not normal. I think we've actually been conditioned to believe that that's normal. Point is, though, we all feel it, and we all need to figure out how the heck to just love ourselves and not think about these things. And it gets me so angry because it's just so frustrating. I wish it was as easy to just switch the way you think as I make it sound like it is, but that's the goal. I guess that's where we're going to start. You fake it till you make it. Say the affirmations. That's what we're doing. But while I was sitting on this plane thinking about that, I also started thinking about the fact that I just had so much fun, and I don't know, I really started to dig deep into my thoughts, and I came to the realization, and I just started to understand that, quite honestly, nobody is paying attention to the small details that you notice in yourself. Like, I started looking around, and I'm like, there's probably a lot of people on this plane right now who are insecure, who don't like the way that they look, or are thinking about something that only is noticeable to them. Like, for example, one of the things that I was thinking about is the fact that I haven't had my eyebrows done in like months. And listen to how sad this is, by the way. I have only let one person touch my eyebrows ever in my life since 7th grade. Like, I was like 12 or 13 years old when I started going to this eyebrow lady. No one else has ever touched my face. She moved to California. I'm like, Queen, I can't go to California once a month to get my eyebrows done. I'm really gonna have to figure this out. I just think that is so sad, and I don't know what to do. If anyone else had that struggle, or if you live in South Florida and have an eyebrow lady, please tell me. I don't know if I'm ever going to let anyone touch my face again. I might just deal with the bushy brows forever. Eyebrows are so important to me. I don't know why. I'm getting off track. What I was saying with this is that nobody else on that plane, I can promise you this, noticed that my eyebrows weren't done. Nobody else on that plane noticed that my hair was a little bit gross and disgusting. Nobody else on that plane noticed that my armpit was being squished by my sports bra and it made me feel fat and disgusting. Nobody noticed that my collarbones looked swollen, which doesn't make me feel good about myself. Like, listen to how stupid I sound, right? Like, you can listen to this and be like, wow, girl, you got bigger problems. Like, why are you so worried about that? Exactly. That is exactly the thing. Nobody notices if you look extra tired. Nobody notices if you're puffy. Nobody notices if your nails are chipped. Nobody notices these things except you. And when you think about them in such detail, of course, you're going to continue to notice them. But one thing that we can do, and we do have the power to do, is shift what we're thinking about. If you're so focused on what you hate about yourself, like your eyebrows, or the way that your chin doesn't look very good, or the way that maybe there's multiple of them, you're not going to feel any better. But instead, you could choose to focus on, for example, what I chose to focus on instead was, oh wow, I look a little bit tan. Oh wow, my hair looks a little bit extra curly and wavy. Or I'm trying to think right now because I don't remember how I did this shift. I was really, really struggling with my insecurity on that flight home. But it starts with the small shifts like that. Notice those instead. Begin to focus on the things that you do love about yourself. And obviously, again, easier said than done. Body image is not an easy thing to handle at all. I feel like I've struggled with my body image for a really long time in my life, and I feel like that's why it's so important for me to continue to just share body positivity and loving yourself at all stages, because one thing that I've noticed I do is whatever I'm struggling with the most is what I'm going to talk about the most. So when I'm struggling with my body a lot, I'm going to post a lot about loving your body, because just as much as I want to share this advice with you guys, it's stuff that I need to share with myself. And that's why I just felt as though this episode was so called for right now, just because I did find myself at kind of a low yesterday. And just throughout this trip, this whole summer, I've been go, going, traveling nonstop. I haven't had much of a routine ever since I got stitches in my hand, which was almost a month ago now. I haven't worked out at all. I've gone on a couple of walks, and when I say a couple of walks, I really mean maybe 5 or 6 in the past month, and just walks. I've done a little bit of yoga, but I haven't really broken a sweat. I haven't been to the gym in over a month, and obviously that kind of affects your mental health, because I'm like, dang, I probably don't look very good if I haven't been working out, and I haven't really changed anything about my diet either, if that makes sense. And I don't know. It's just been heavy on my heart, so it's heavy on the pod now. We're getting through this together. And I also, since I started this podcast, have had so many different DMs of people just wanting to talk about this and just kind of hear someone else's point of view or take something away from this that might help you. First thing I want to say, I guess it's not the first thing I want to say. I've been talking for 13 minutes. But one thing I want to say is that I'm going to be cringy for a second. I need you to understand, and it might be cringy, but I'm also talking to myself when I say this. I need you to understand that you are made to be exactly the way that you are. God created you to be unique, to be special, to go through different changes, to allow your body to change, to grow, to develop. And that's just so important for you to remember. And it's so important for me to remember when it comes down to comparing myself, because I know this isn't really going in any formulated way at all. It's just going all over the place where my thoughts go. But another thing that is huge with body image is comparison. And gosh, comparison is literally the devil. I can say this over and over and over again. Jealousy is the devil. Comparison is the devil. Everyone is made to be different. Everyone is made to look different. You are not made to make yourself look like someone else, no matter what you think, no matter what social media has made you believe, no matter what you hear. You are you. Other people are other people. And someone else's beauty is never going to take away from your own. There are so many different kinds of beauty. And social media just likes to stick to one. And another thing that I think is really interesting to think about before I dig deeper in the comparison thing is I saw this TikTok, and it talked about the different beauty body standards from, I want to say it started in 1920 all the way up until now. And every single decade, every 10 years, they have changed so much. Like what the industry called beautiful has ranged from super curvy to super thin to super big boobs or to super big butt, whatever it may be, it has focused on all of them. So understand that if right now your body isn't in this like beauty standard, which first of all shouldn't exist, understand that at one point it is and at another point it will be. It is just what the media wants to feed you, that they're going to feed you. I don't know if any of what I just said makes sense, but what I'm really trying to tell you is that you are beautiful just the way you are, and that at every point in history, the beauty standard is changing. So don't pay attention to that. And if you notice yourself paying attention to it a lot, if you notice yourself scrolling through TikTok, scrolling through Instagram, looking at magazines, going on Pinterest, and always focusing on what people's bodies look like and how yours may or may not look like that, you need to check where your mindset is at, where your priorities are at, because I promise you, it's not important. But back to comparison, back to jealousy, I have struggled with this, and I can't sit here and tell you that I don't still struggle with this. Again, I'm human. I'm not a teenage girl, but I'm basically a teenage girl. I am going to look at people and be like, wow, I wish I looked like that. I can't sit here and lie and say that I haven't, because that's just not, I'm not all about that. I'm about just being straight up honest with you guys. But I can explain to you the way that I've shifted my mindset when I do start thinking like that. I not only view, I don't know if you guys can hear the sirens. I doubt that you can, but if you can, that's my grandpa checking in on me. Every time I hear sirens, I think of him. He used to be a firefighter. I've probably told you guys that 10 million thousand times. But dude, I don't know how he does it. He always comes in at the right times just to say hello. Anyways, comparison is not it. Jealousy is not it. Learning to appreciate others' beauty, that's where it's at. That's what you need to focus on, because one thing I've learned about life is that when you pay attention and understand and appreciate the beauty in other people and the beauty in other things and the beauty in other people's success, that is when you learn to give yourself credit for everything that you are and everything that you've done and everything that you look like. Because when you are constantly tearing yourself apart, you'll notice that you're also constantly tearing other things apart, and it's all connected. When you can start to slowly shift these little tiny things, you will notice that your whole entire life is going to change, and the way that you think is going to change. And not necessarily on the surface level immediately. Because like I just said, I've done all these mindset shifts. I have really changed the way that I view the world, and I still will see someone absolutely perfect, even though we're all perfect, and be like, damn, I wish I looked like that. Why aren't my boobs that big? Why doesn't my six-pack look like that? But the key is that I've shifted it. When I think that, instead of, I don't know, in high school, when I would see people like that, I would get mad at them. I would get angry at that person because they have what I want and I don't have. But as I've gotten older, when I see that, I'll compliment people. If I think someone looks great, I'm going to pop off and be like, dude, you look amazing. Like, good for you. Like, you're killing it. And when I started to do that, I don't even know how to explain it or how to put it into words. When I stopped blaming the person I wanted to be and started appreciating them, it slowly taught me to appreciate myself. Because another thing to think about is, I want you to think about your best friend or your brothers or your parents or people that you love in your life. The things that you love the most about them, what are they? They're not physical, usually. Yeah, you might love their eyes, but you love the way that their laugh lights up a room. You love the way that their personality can charm people. You love the way that they make you feel. Never once, at least for me, have I looked at the people I love and been like, I love you because you have a great rockin' six-pack, right? If you have done that, I guess to each their own, but I don't really have any advice on that. I've never done that. I admire the way that people make me feel. And when I do that and when I think about that, it also helps me understand that the people that love me in this life don't love me for what I look like. They don't love me for what my body looks like. And honestly, to them, that is probably the least important, most irrelevant thing about me. They like my smile. They like my laugh. They like the way that I talk. They like the way that I think. They like the way that I chase my dreams. Like, whatever the case may be, it's not my body. And when I think like that, I notice I can let go of a lot of that comparison and a lot of that jealousy, and I think that we all could. And I don't know if that's something that we all understand or we all think about, and if it's not something you've ever thought about, start thinking about it. Notice the way that it changes everything. And obviously, all that being said, I still have my struggles. Like right now, I feel a little bit gross and a little bit disgusting, and I have to go take all these pictures, right? Like, I know that I am being a little bit hypocritical, but we're learning, we're growing, we're doing this together. I am reminding myself of all of these things that I'm sharing with you. Loving yourself is a journey. It is a never-ending journey because, listen to this, you are constantly changing. So obviously the way that you feel about yourself and the way that you perceive yourself is also going to constantly be changing. Does that make sense? I think it does. But another thing that's cool to think about with the body and how it's going to go through changes is when you think about your mind developing, you are constantly growing and evolving, and you are okay with that. If anything, you actually encourage that. You want your mind to constantly change and grow and develop. But yet, when it comes to the physical aspect of that, when it comes to our bodies changing and growing and developing, we almost don't want it. Like, we don't allow ourselves to see that happen, and we get stuck in the past. And when I say this, I mean that I will look back on old Snapchat memories or old selfies of myself from when I was literally 15, 16, and 17. And I don't know if this is personal or vulnerable, whatever it is, I'll look back on those and be like, dang, why don't I look like that anymore? Like, why am I not a twig anymore? And gosh, it sounds so bad to say out loud, but this is what society has convinced me of, that I need to be teeny tiny. But again, we're working on it. And like I said earlier, I went more in on that. But I look at these old versions of myself from, I'm 21 now, from 5-6 years ago. And I'm like, dang, I wish I still looked like that. Girl, no. You're not going to still look like that when you're 21 years old. And when I start thinking like that, I really have to just click myself back into the present moment and be like, if I was 16 years old, I don't think I'd be looking at pictures of myself being 8 years old and thinking to myself, why don't I look like that anymore? Like, that's just weird. Like, it is weird for me or for us. I hope it's us, because if it's just me that does that, like, I'm going to feel real stupid. But I don't think it is, because I've talked with my friends about this. It is weird for me to look back on things from 6 years ago and be like, I wish I could go back to that. Because think about this. Yeah, you could go back to that body, but you'd also go back to that mind. Like, I have grown so much and learned so much and met so many people and done so many cool things in the past 6 years. Like, why would I want to go back to that? You know, we are constantly ever changing and ever growing, and our bodies are going to do the same. And the whole moral of this podcast, like the thing I just feel like I am going to keep saying over and over and over again, is that your body is the least important thing about you, and you literally shouldn't give two shits about it. I say that so harshly because I mean it, and I'm saying it to myself. I am currently filming this podcast because, if you didn't know, I also post them on YouTube. I don't really promo them when I post them on YouTube, just because I like it better when you listen. But I am looking at myself saying that because even when I look at this little camera sometimes, I look at my chin and I'm like, oh wow, I have a really round face. Like, shut up, Lexi. Get over it. Nobody's paying attention to that. And if they are, they can go. They don't need to be in my life anyways. I think it also just becomes a struggle when I am constantly reading what people think of me. It gives me this, I don't know the term for it, like an identity crisis, because I am formulating this version of myself that other people perceive me as and getting it confused with who I actually am. Because when I'm constantly reading comments about what people think of what I look like, what I wear, what my, I don't know, just very small personal details that, like, most of the time I feel like people don't comment on in person, having to see them. Not really sure where I'm going with this, but basically what I'm saying is that reading comments about me on TikTok or reading DMs about me or reading Instagram comments, all of these things really caused me to confuse myself on who I am and my self-love journey. Because back to just kind of getting into my struggles with my body image. Back in the day, back in high school, way long ago, even when I was 16 and 15 and 17, like, you know, those pictures I was just saying I looked at and I'm like, oh, I wish I could be that. I could look like that again. Well, even back then, I was struggling with what I looked like. Like, I just, for some odd reason, I was literally tiny, you guys. I always just, like, didn't like my body. And then, you know, I go in phases. Like, sometimes I love her, sometimes I hate her. It's human. Just like emotions are a wave, our self-love journey is also always going to be a wave. But the one time that body image became super, super impactful and important for me was, well, at least talking about body image became super important for me, was back when I was in Hawaii. The first time I moved there in January of 2021. I moved there and was living the coolest life. Obviously, was partying a lot. We've gone into detail on that, and I'm not going to get into it again right now. But if you want to hear more about that journey, just go back to, I don't know, any podcast where the description talks about Hawaii. We were drinking a lot. We were partying a lot. We were eating a lot. We weren't working out. When I say we, I mean, I guess just collectively as a group. But me personally was not really doing anything to take care of my body. But I also was just enjoying life and not focused on my body at all. So I ended up gaining weight, like a decent amount of weight. Like, I think I gained, I don't know, I'm not going to get into numbers here, but it was a lot of weight. It was a significant double digit, like a lot of weight. And I personally didn't really notice it too much. Like, I noticed it in certain pictures and noticed that I couldn't really, it sounds stupid, but take mirror selfies the way that I used to. And I was just so focused on doing other things that I didn't really let it get to me until TikTok let it get to me. Fuck TikTok. Excuse my language, but this was a really, really tough time in my life because I was constantly getting comments from burner accounts, people who wouldn't show their face, didn't have a personality picture. I had to block so many people at this time because people just kept commenting on how much weight I gained. Like, people had nicknames for me like chonkers. They would talk about how round my face was, and that's already something I always struggle with, like, to this day. But back then, it had gotten even rounder, and I think that's beautiful, but apparently other people didn't. And I was just getting wrecked, and it sent me into a spiral with myself, let me tell you, because I am a self-love girl. I am a love your body at all stages. But that's a lot harder to do when people are literally nicknaming you chonkers. Like, guys, just think about that. That was not it. My DMs were filled with it. And I think people just kind of hopped on the bandwagon and they weren't having a field day with it. But that was also just because I was at a point in my life where, like I said, my priority at all was not my body or my physical health. It was more just having fun. And I'm so grateful for that. And I am not mad about that weight that I've gained. And I think, lost some of that weight, or it's just kind of like shifted in my body because, again, your weight is going to fluctuate. You are going to look different even if you're the same weight, or vice versa. I don't weigh myself anymore. The only time I really weigh myself is if I'm at the doctor, or sometimes my gym has a scale. Like, if I just did like a great workout, I'm like, oh, let's see what I weigh. But I don't really pay attention to numbers. I don't own a scale, and I never will because, I don't know, it can just get messy. Point being, my weight still fluctuates and my body still fluctuates, but I don't get as many chonkers comments anymore, thank God. Where I was going with that, though, is just that people are going to sometimes have something to say, but what they say is so irrelevant. I like to think about the fact that these comments came from people who wouldn't even show their face, and I know that no matter what, they wouldn't say this to my face. So if you struggle with comments like that, please just understand not to take it personally. And another one of those things, easier said than done. Like, I know reading comments about what people think you look like is not a good feeling on the inside, and it definitely makes you second guess everything that you feel about yourself. But it's not personal. It's people projecting. It's people being upset that you are confident in the beautiful body that you are given, and they are not. 99% of the time, someone has something to say about what you look like. It is because they are upset that you are confident in yourself and they are struggling with their own insecurity. That is where these negative comments come from. It is literally just projection. And even on a scale that goes further than body image, like anything that people say that is negative about you or negative in general is just projection. They're struggling with something subconscious that they don't know how to understand for themselves, so they just take it out on other people. And I will say that, I will take that to the grave. It is such a true statement, and it is something that helps me get through like hate and just negative comments constantly. And I don't know how we got onto that, but you guys, you are, I'm blinking. My brain just like turned off. A car drove by and I got distracted by it, and then I forgot where I was going with that. But you are more than a body. You are literally a soul. You are a beam of light, a ball of joy. Like, you are so much more than what you look like. And this whole podcast is just to remind you of that, and to remind me of that, and to also kind of just dive in here for a second. I know that with body image issues comes a huge struggle with food for a lot of people. And I want to talk about relationships with food in a whole nother episode, because this is something that is so personal for me, because so many people in my life I have watched struggle on such a deep level, and I have watched people I'm not even close with struggle, and even people that I went to high school with struggle. I have such a soft spot in my heart, and it leads me to a lot of like, I don't know, I get very empathetic when it comes to struggles with food, because I don't know. See, again, this is something that's really hard for me to talk about, because I want to get really into detail about relationships with food, but that's when I really need to have an outline for and articulate how to talk about it, because I know that that's something a lot of people have a hard time listening to, and I don't know. It's just kind of a trigger warning. I'm not going to get deep into anything now, but when I do the podcast episode about this, I am going to get deep into things. But food is fuel. Food is a beautiful thing, and even at every given point that I have struggled with my body image, I am so beyond grateful that I have been able to keep a healthy relationship with food. I don't know what it is, but food is just like a passion thing for me. I have a huge appetite. I love food. I'm always hungry. You can ask anyone in my life how much I eat and how much I will make sure that I am fueling my body. And I just want to quickly remind you that you need to do the same, that food is what gives you the ability to walk, to run, to dance, to skip, to jump, to swim, like all of these things. Food is what gives you energy to live. And when you avoid it to look a certain way, number one, it's not sustainable long term. Number two, it is hurting your mental health so badly. And number three, you're hurting yourself. You deserve more than that. You deserve to enjoy the things that you love. You enjoy to eat pizza when you want it. You enjoy to have balance in your life. And don't get me wrong, if you're struggling with your body image, it's okay to incorporate more health and wellness into your life. It's okay to add an extra workout every couple of days if that's what makes you feel good. That's what mentally makes you love yourself a little bit more. It's okay to add more fruits and vegetables into your day. It's okay to maybe have 4 slices of bread instead of 5 slices of bread. Like, you can make small changes like that. I think that that's healthy, and I do believe in, fueling your body with the proper things and the proper nutrition, but I am also a huge believer in eating a full pizza every once in a while if that's what your body wants. And I'm not saying do that every day, but I'm saying find the balance in your life to where you can enjoy everything that you love in moderation. And again, I don't want to get too into food right now. I just want to remind you that you are deserving of food. It is your fuel. It is what is going to keep you going, and you deserve it no matter what you're struggling with your body. When it comes to fixing your body image and learning how to love yourself and let go of body dysmorphia and be able to look in the mirror and be like, I love you. If you change what you eat or don't eat, I promise you are only going to make that mental health and that body dysmorphia worse. And again, since this is so personal to people that I'm close to in my life, I cannot get into it right now, but I can promise you that no matter how much weight you lose, you are not going to love yourself until you can make the change in your mind that you love yourself. and I know that that's harsh and it's deep and it's a hard pill to swallow and no one wants to talk about these things, trust me, you need to learn to love yourself at every stage, because if you don't, you will never love yourself. And I mean that. I think that you're beautiful and I love you, and I think that you are perfectly made the way that you are. And gosh, I know that I can sound like so cringy when I talk about stuff like this, or I just remind you that you are loved and worthy and valuable, but it is so important for you to understand. And I want you to listen to this, and I want you to write it down, and I want you to say your affirmations, and I want you to look in the mirror and remind yourself that you are more than a body. You are a soul and you have a purpose, and no one is paying attention to what you look like except you. To put this in a more like straight up way, do you really want to be thinking, say it's 2 years okay, I glitched. It's 2 years down the road, and you had your priorities all focused on what you looked like. And no matter what, 2 years down the road from now, whether you like it or not, you're going to look different. Imagine you spent all that time focusing on what you looked like and how you changed your body instead of your long-term dreams and your long-term goals. Check your priorities, okay? Focus on what you really want to make happen. Focus on how you're going to change the world. Focus on how you're going to find your passion and make yourself a life that you live. Okay, starting to glitch. We're going to cut this off soon. Focus on how you're going to make a life that you love. Focus on your future. Okay? Not what the boy that sits next to you in math class thinks about you, okay? Because he's irrelevant. He does not matter. He probably won't be in the picture in 5 years. And if he is, good for him. He probably loved you for more than your body. I'll say that. If you can grasp this, it will change the way that you feel about everything. And you're still going to struggle sometimes. But for the most part, you're going to be a lot more, for lack of a better word, you're going to be a lot more woke. You're going to understand that it literally doesn't matter. And when you can understand that for yourself, you're going to notice, again, I'm getting repetitive, you're going to notice that you find a lot less comparison. You find a lot less hatred for people who have it better than you. And this goes in all levels, in all directions that go further than just your body. A quote that I love, and this doesn't really have anything to do with body image, but you could tie it into it if you wanted to. If you can't clap for others, it'll never be your turn. Let go of comparison, please. Cheer your friends on. Love your friends. Help them become successful in what they love. It's not ever going to take away from your own success, okay? Remember that. It's just something that's also been heavy on my heart. I know it didn't really have to do with the episode, but there it is. There you have it. I think I touched on some of the stuff I wanted to touch on. I also think I rambled and I repeated a lot, but that's okay. We all need to hear it multiple times, and I say that every episode, but shut up, Lexi. Shut up. I love you guys. And you guys, the Moments merch, I'm literally getting samples tomorrow. Like, I think that they're going to come in time before I leave for Greece, and I am crapping my pants. I'm so excited. You have no idea. This is a dream come true. Moments is going to be something, and I've had some late night thoughts lately of all these other dreams and goals I have for Moments, and they're all going to happen with time when they're meant to happen. I'm being patient with it, and I appreciate you guys for being just as patient with me, but Moments merch is coming like August 15th, like really, really freaking soon. It's August, you guys, like a week from now. I think a week from this podcast is when the Moments merch is going to be launching. So let's freaking go. I'm so excited. I am recording an episode with Lisette. I'm actually recording another episode today in case I don't get the chance to record in Greece. I don't want to be super stressed or overwhelmed on getting a pod done there. So me and Lisette are going to record an advice episode, and that's what you're going to be listening to next Monday. And I'll probably be talking a little bit more about the merch on that episode. So get hyped, get excited. That is going to be launch day, actually. So yeah, we're definitely going to be talking about the Moments merch. I love you guys. You have changed my life, and you, whether you realize it or not, have helped me love myself, and all I can hope and pray that I do is just a little bit of the same for you. Thank you for being you, and I will talk to you next Monday. Peace, love, Moments pod. You guys are angels. Seriously. Bye.